And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet tonight's starters. Beginning first with the visiting Chargers of Marian University. At guard, a freshman 5'11" out of Chicago, Illinois, wearing number 4, Sean Donaldson. At the swing guard form, this is freshman 6'5" out of Indianapolis, Indiana, wearing number 5, King English. At guard, a freshman 6'1" out of Portage, Indiana, wearing number 10, Marian. At the swing guard form, this is a freshman 6'6", Indianapolis, Indiana, wearing number 21, Marian Page. And around the sideline, the visiting Chargers at guard, a sophomore 6'1" out of Hammond, Indiana, wearing number 23, Kenneth Grant. For your Bulldogs. At forward, freshman 6'8", out of Homewood, Phosphor, wearing number 22, Jacoby McNeil. At guard, a sophomore 6'2", out of Lafayette, Indiana, wearing number 23, Tanner Field. The man middle, 6'7" sophomore, out of Brownsville, Indiana, wearing number 12, Angel Edmondson. At guard, a sophomore, 5'9", out of Nashville, Illinois, wearing number 10, Samar Bird. And right out the sideline for your Bulldogs. He's a guard, he's a sophomore, he's 6 foot, he's out of Chicago, Illinois, he wears number 2, he is A.J. Abrams. Head coach John County in the 20th season.
Hey everybody, what's going on? To those of you that saw the women's game, welcome back to the South Suburban Fieldhouse. With you is yours truly, Ty Smith on the mic, as the South Suburban Bulldogs take on the Ancilla College Chargers. Coming to tonight's matchups, the Chargers start off at a 0-2 record as they just came off an L from the Bosco Institute. But so far, the Bulldogs can't talk neither, as they just came off a loss against Danville, as y'all saw last Saturday. So we're going to see who comes out victorious. Here's the jump ball. And that goes to the Chargers. For the start lineups, the Chargers start off with 2 Donaldson, 5 English, 10 Evans, 21 Page, and they round them off with 23 Grant, as the Bulldogs go with the usual 2 Abrams, 10 Burrs, 12 Edmondson, 22 McNeil, rounding them off 23 Fields. As Fields misses the 3, Cummins surging back. That was 5 Evans on the break, as he takes the jumper, not able to hit it, as Edmondson got the rebound but misthrows it to Grant, as the Chargers are now on offense. Here's a back cut from Evans, who's able to score as he received the pass. Here's Burrs bringing it up to Fields, who gets it to Edmondson on the elbow. He swings it to Abrams, posting, able to get to the rim and use his upper body strength to be able to shoot through the contact, even though he couldn't finish. Nice aggressive take. As far as keys to win, that's definitely one of them, being able to be aggressive, as Abrams knocks down the free throw. But the Bulldogs want to be able to get into transition, be able to get to the basket, as he attempts his second free throw. Abrams able to knock it down. And second chance points, that's very important. You want to get on the glass, as I mentioned plenty of times before. The Bulldogs have a lot of athletes, as Burr is able to be a blur on that play and able to create a turnover for the Bulldogs. Also, ball movement. You want to be able to make the easy pass for your teammates, be able to cut and get open and be ready to shoot. As we have Fields here on the elbow, able to get to Abrams for a nice mid-range jump, and unable to get that to go. But that's an example of a great shot to take, though. I like that shot, as it seemed like an easy shot, and it wasn't really forced. And here's Edmondson in the post. He got to be careful, as we saw he fouled out last game against Danville. He's definitely a very integral part of this team, as Edmondson does a lot of different things defensively. You see he definitely got some moves like Olajuwon in that post, so hopefully he can be a lot more disciplined in this game, because we love seeing him do his thing on the floor. Here's a little full court pressure from number 10, Evans of the Chargers. Here's a little lollipop pass as Burrs is able to get the step back jumper off. No good, but here's Jacoby with the rebound. No good, but Edmondson able to clean it up as that's thrown away because of the defensive pressure by the Bulldogs. Now, that's something I definitely like. I like that initiative by the Bulldogs, being able to make a defensive effort and starting off full court. That definitely sets a precedent for the squad. You're making a statement, as it looks like they inbounded. Here's Burrs, who gets it to Fields. Coming out of the inbounds play, they swing to Abrams. Abrams looking around, finds Burrs. Burrs to Fields, back to Burrs. And here's Edmondson, a little high post action, as he's able to get it to McNeil, who's unable to finish. Now here come the Chargers, as they can't quite finish in transition. And a nice steal strip from Abrams, as Burrs comes in a hurry, taking the bump and able to get the left-hand lay. It's crazy because Samar Burrs is right-handed, but he finishes very, very well with the left. He said, I can do it all, it don't even matter. Just got to get buckets. That's what he do. He gets buckets. And once again, here's a little pressure from Abrams. Really able to make Evans think. As Evans drives, he has to kick it. And that pass is overthrown, but collected by Page. Now here's English with a drive, and he's able to finish with his left. As that foul looks like it was on McNeil, and which is confirmed it was McNeil on that play. And quickly checking into the game for the Bulldogs is number 21, King, the red shirt freshman for the Bulldogs. Very interested to see what he does in this play. I really didn't see him too much in the game against Danville. Very interested to see what he does to help this Bulldogs club. And here he is with the rebounds as he gets it to Burrs. Burrs bringing it up, running point as he does for the Bulldogs. Able to throw a dime to Edmondson, who just quickly lays it. Edmondson ain't got time. He said, I got to hurry to get these buckets. I got to make up for Saturday. Edmondson off to a great start right now for the Bulldogs. Here's a little pressure from Burrs as a screen is set. Burrs still that old, but he gets up in the air. As it looked like that low-key could have been a travel, because he definitely left his pivot, but nonetheless able to score is number 4, Donaldson of the Chargers. Here's King, giving to Abrams with a quick, violent crossover, but ends up in the hands of guess who? Edmondson, who's not able to finish as that ball is tapped around. Now here's King, or excuse me, here's Page, as it looks like there was a foul called. And that foul is going to be on King as Fields checks out of the game. Checking in is number 24, Pangalo, who had a great game last time against Danville. We saw him hit at least about 2 or 3 threes. Definitely being one of those Swiss Army knives I was talking about last game. One of those versatile players you can kind of just put anywhere for the Bulldogs. So let's see what he does right now against the Chargers. Here's Evans. Swings it to English. English crossing over. Doesn't hit the shot, but is fouled by King. I believe that is his second, as it looks like number 11, Shane Handlin, is checking in. Probably for King, who just picked up 2 fouls. And yes, it is King. As you can see, Coach Pagatti ain't wasting no time because he's trying not to have his players in foul trouble. So if you pick up that 1, he already thinking of who he going to put in if you get 2. So that's why I was mentioning discipline as far as defensively. You got to make sure you got your hands out of the cookie jar, make sure you boxing out right because these refs, they calling it. So we going to see what happens as that ball bricked in for the free throw. Here's Handlin bringing it up. As Burrs usually does, he's able to get it to Burrs because of the ball pressure by the Chargers. Here's Pangalo. Pangalo looking, searching, finds Abrams on the right wing, who gets it to Handlin. Handlin fakes the 3, drives, gets it to Abrams with 10 seconds to go, feeds it to Edmondson, who finishes the layup. Once again, Edmondson looking nice and right, looking sharp. He said, I got some making up to do, y'all. Great start for Edmondson so far. Here's Grant crossing over against Pangalo, unable to hit the shot. Once again, the length of the Bulldogs bothering the Chargers as Abrams is able to lay in the layup from the nice go-ahead pass from Burrs. Here's English getting it to Evans as he directs traffic. Defended by Pangalo. And once again, Cookies, not quite, but the effort is there as Webster is looking for somebody. He finds Page, and then here is Grant, who's able to knock down the 3 to stop some of the bleeding from the Bulldogs. And it looks like Coach Pagatti got to get some scruples together for the Bulldogs. As far as the keys to win, I kind of mentioned some of them, but defensively, as we saw in that last play, the Bulldogs have to stop the 3 attempts. They gotta stop these guys from getting hot because as far as these Charger players, they definitely have some shooters as far as being able to knock down the 3 ball. As we saw with Donaldson, you know, he definitely can shoot. You know, it's a lot of three-point talent. As we saw, they started all guards. So, you know, that's already a red flag as far as pace and play. You already know that they're going to be gunning. They're going to be gunning. So definitely got to stop the 3s, definitely got to rebound, you know, make contact. As we saw in the last game against Danville, the Bulldogs are excellent on the offensive glass, but they got to make sure they rebound defensively as well. And then as far as rebounding defensively, when you got that ball, go already have your outlets ready, already have Burrs and Fields, already have them already leaking out, handling. You got so many different versatile athletes on this Bulldog squad, so you guys already want to be leaking out and trying to get easy buckets because that's where the Bulldogs thrive. They thrive in transition. They thrive in mistakes being made as far as steals. We already saw Burrs being very active on the defensive end, getting some steals, and almost got that 1 steal that did lead to the 3. But once again, that 3-point shot is deadly. So they definitely got to make sure that they can get out on those 3-point shooters and try to keep them from getting hot rather. So let's see what happens coming out of this timeout break. Here's Burrs bringing it up. And it looks like a little bit of 2-3 pressure from the Chargers. Here's Handlin on the wing. Pulls up, 2 dribbles, unable to get the shot. But I like that shot. It was a great shot to take because obviously with the Chargers being in zone, they don't really think that these Bulldogs can shoot. So I do like that shot. It was very aggressive by Handlin. As the Chargers bring it up, as I was mentioning with Donaldson, he's a 26% 3-point shooter. You got Webster, number 0, who's a pretty lethal scorer, scoring 10 points per game. Donaldson averaging 15 points, almost 16 points per game. And Grant averaging 22, shooting 46%. you know. So, as I mentioned before, you got to stop these guys from getting hot as we're able to get the ball back on this possession. Here's Burrs bringing it up. Gets it to Pangalo. Pangalo gets it to Abrams. Abrams to Edmondson. Edmondson to Pangalo for three. And he knocks it down, trying to continue his streak. Pangalo, that was, who had 12 points last game against Danville, shooting 4 of 11. He's 4 for 9 from 3. And that three is knocked down by the Chargers as Coach Pagatti is livid. As I mentioned, three-point shooting, you know, as far as the Chargers, Kenneth Grant, who just knocked down that three-point shot, that three-point shot for the Chargers, he's shooting almost 47%, you know, so that means he's making almost, for every 2 threes, he's going to make at least one. You know, that's what that means, so that he definitely can get hot at any moment. So, as I mentioned before, that's definitely a key component of this game for the Bulldogs, is to stop the three. You want to stop their three-point shooters from getting going, and by that means they got to drive. But we saw a few possessions with Pangalo doing a great job of sticking them. I want to see if they're going to pull, if the Bulldogs are going to put a little bit more length on the Chargers shooters, like Grant, 23. You know, he's short but stocky in stature, so he matches up well with Abrams. But I want to see if someone a little bit longer, a little bit stronger could stick, or someone like a Pagalo maybe, you know, that can stick with him. Here's Edmondson getting it to Pagalo, as mentioned, and he knocks down his second three. He said, "Three me up real quick. I ain't done, y'all." Pagalo making it hot as the Bulldogs regain the lead, 18-16. Here are the Chargers. Here's Abrams with a little bit of ball pressure. And that is stripped by Handling, but back into the hands of the Chargers, but not able to get the three to go. And here comes Burrs pushing it down the court, crossing over. And it looks like a foul was called right before the ball was intercepted by the Chargers. That was a foul. And like that foul was on number 0, Webster of the Chargers. So as we can see, this game is already fast-paced. It's already zipping and going, if you will. But I don't know if the Chargers want to keep playing like that, because that is definitely the Bulldogs' game to get up and down, as I mentioned before. Here's Burrs swinging it to Pagalo, who just doesn't even think about it, gets it up. And Handling does a great job of trying to get the offensive rebound, but he hops right over the back. It looked like he could have cleared it low-key. He could have hopped straight over if he would have got his foot over the shoulder of the Chargers defender, but unable to do so. Here the Chargers bringing it down. Here is Webster. Gets it to English. He misthrows it. And guess who got it, y'all? My man Burrs switches in the air, unable to get it to go. It looks like the headband of Webster falls off as he gets it to Grant. Grant with Green defending as he's checked to the ball game. Green had a pretty solid game against Danville. Here's Grant at the top of the key against Burrs. Swings it to Webster, whose foot was out of bounds. And the possession will go to the Bulldogs, y'all. Here's Burrs bringing it up as we approach 11 minutes in the ball game. See a little man-to-man pressure from the Chargers as a screen is set by Green. Here's Edmondson swinging it across to Green, who does a great job of cutting through and knocks down the three. Like I said, ball movement. Ball movement is very important as Green's able to get going. I really like Green coming off the bench as he's displaying great ball pressure. And that ball is taken away by Handling. And here's Green to Burrs. Burrs ahead to lay it in. Once again, that pressure, that fast break situation, y'all don't want to run up and down with the Bulldogs. I'm trying to tell y'all, you don't want to do that, because that's when they start to get going. Here's English getting a screen from Page. Swings it to Donaldson. Donaldson being defended by Green. Green doing a great job of staying in front, but unable to stop the jumper. Even though he hit it, that's solid defense. You just got to shake that man's hand. That's great defense. But here's Green on the offensive end as he brings it up, gets it to Handling. Handling does not hesitate, takes the three, no good. And here comes English pushing it down with Edmondson defending, driving left. Edmondson cutting it off, unable to contest, but don't matter because he ain't hit it. Here come Burrs off the rebound. Burrs throwing it down to Edmondson, who slams it in. Oh, my goodness. You can't do the rim like that. It's sensitive. Edmondson with just a ferocious slam. He ain't care on that one. That's what I'm talking about. These Bulldogs are hooping right now, extending the lead. Here's Burrs with defensive pressure all up on Webster. And here's Handling just being the pest, just poking. But that ain't matter, though, as Donaldson was able to knock down the shot. As I said, Donaldson, one of the key scorers right now for the Chargers. Here come Burrs, getting it to Green. Green to Handling. Handling fakes the three, gets it to Green, who decides to take another one. No good. But once again, though, I like the ball movement by the Bulldogs as they're starting to get going a little bit, finding their offensive identity. Here's Donaldson for three, no good as Handling corrals the rebound. Here comes Burrs with his head up. Decides to cross, doesn't, gets it to Green. Green drives, fakes, lays. Green means go, ladies and gentlemen. Green means go. Here's English bringing it up as it looks like he's trying to catch his breath because we're going up and down. Waving off Grant. Disgruntled English is as he asks for a screen. Approaching 10 seconds, doesn't get it. Great defense because Edmond ain't going nowhere. Edmond not falling for no fakes, but is able to score is English. Here's a little bit of ball pressure as Burrs just blows straight by Webster. Now here's Pangalo for a tray ball. No good as Grant collects the rebound. Here comes Donaldson directing traffic, telling people to move out the way as Green ain't going nowhere. He takes a contested mid-range jumper that goes down. Once again, that's not bad defense. Once again, you got to take, like I said, you got to shake that man's hand. Green played excellent defense. His man was just able to hit the shot. Here comes Burrs as we approach 7.5. He feeds Edmondson in the post with the smaller Grant as a foul was called against number 21, Page. And right now, like I said, offensively, the Bulldogs are starting to get going, but it's not just one way. It's not just the three ball, and it's not just layups or dunks. They're doing everything. They're shooting threes. They have great ball movement. They have great momentum. And right now, the Chargers call timeout because they're trying to figure out how to stop the momentum and the pace of the Bulldogs. So as I mentioned before, just as far as the keys to win, being able to get out in transition, as we saw with the nice slam by Edmondson, like I said, it's very big with him being able to get going because he had gotten in foul trouble in the game against Danville, and he also was in foul trouble in the exhibition game, against Calumet College. You know, so he really wasn't able to get going, but I like what I see right now from Edmondson. He's really displaying his talents, being able to get out, opening the floor. Like I said, this Bulldogs team has a lot of athleticism, a lot of speed, a lot of strength, you know, and with them being able to get out on the open floor, that's playing to their strength. So with this game going up and down, like I said with the Chargers, I don't know if they want to do that right now with the Bulldogs because that's where they thrive and that's one of their key points. So with the Bulldogs, they just got to make sure that they're stopping threes, stopping a lot of threes. You know, we see some of their players trying to take the Bulldogs players one-on-one, and like I said, with Edmondson, we see a complete change in his demeanor and his defensive stance. He's disciplined some plays. He might have to give it to him. You know what I'm saying? Just as far as scoring, I believe it was either Page or Evans, or was it? It was English rather. That did a great post move, and Edmondson couldn't do anything about it because he couldn't risk getting another foul. He just had to let him score. But guess what? He got it back with a dunk on the other end. So, like I said, so far, things are starting to click offensively for the Bulldogs. So let's see what goes on this out-of-bounds play. Let's see what's popping. Here's Burrs. Takes the screen from McNeil, who's back in. And the ball swung to Abrams with a nice floater. Abrams just floated over the defender. Great play by Abrams. Here's Evans directing traffic. The ball is swung to one Swift. Gets it to Webster. Approaching 10 seconds. Here's a little pressure from Capers, the freshman out of Chicago. As the three is no good, McNeil corrals it, gets it to Burris, who looks straight up the floor, as a good point guard should. Crosses over left, and it looked like he's stripped. Burris being the blur once again, just being able to get down floor. You know, Burris had a pretty nice game last game against Danville. As we saw, he was able to get going. I believe he had like 11 in the first half. He was really able to show what he can do as he knocks down the free throw. Played pretty well as he scored 26 points on 10 of 13 shooting, and he's 5 of 9 from the free throw. We saw he struggled a little bit, but it looks like that ain't gonna be the case today as he knocks down both free throws. Here's a drive, a little bit out of control, but it looks like that was last touch by Handling on that play. But as I was mentioning with Burrs, you know, I really like having him at point. He's a great point guard. He kind of reminds me of Tim Hardaway a little bit. You know, in the late 80s, early 90s, playing for Run TMC of the Golden State Warriors. You know, that power guard that can get to the lane, but also got a nice jump shot, you know. So that's the player comp I got for Burrs, as that layup was jagged by Swift. Here comes Burrs as he was semi-trapped. He gets the screen from Handling, gets it to Handling, who comes off the screen, unable to get it to go. But once again, I like the shot. It was just a great shot. Here comes Webster, unable to spin as Cookies is collected by Capers, able to get it to Burrs as he tried to keep the play alive. But there was a foul call. Great effort out of Capers. As I mentioned, he's a freshman out of Chicago, Illinois. Played high school ball at Lindblom. I really like the effort that he gave against Calumet College in the exhibition. We saw some great things from him. Hopefully we can see some good things from him in this game today. Also checked in for the Bulldogs is number 20, Green. Zach Green, that is, another freshman from Lake Central High School in Indiana. He's from the Linwood area, south suburbs. Here's Capers being aggressive drives, unable to get that to go, as it looks like Abrams was on the baseline. But as I mentioned, another positive, another strength of the Bulldogs is offensive rebounds. So you got to appreciate the aggression, you know, especially with the score being 31-24. You know, the Bulldogs are playing to their strengths right now. So as long as they keep doing that, this ball game could be theirs. Here's Evans bringing it up, trying to direct traffic, trying to decide what to do with the pick and roll. He spins, throws a pass to his teammate Johnson, who gets fouled. And it looks like that foul is going to be on the freshman Green of the Bulldogs, as Johnson takes his 2 free throws. As that free throw is knocked down by Johnson. Like I mentioned, these Bulldogs are making the Chargers work defensively because they're not letting them get easy threes. I don't know how tough they really are at finishing at the basket, so I think that was a smart play to foul by Green. As we see a little bit of pressure, a little quarter-court, half-court, semi-pressure from Swift on Burrs. Here's Abrams being heavily guarded by Donaldson as the ball swung to McNeil. Back to Burrs, fakes the three, goes baseline, throws it to Abrams, to Green. Green fakes left, goes right, hop steps, looks around, gets it to Abrams. Below 10 seconds, Abrams able to finish the and one. The acrobatic move by J. Abrams. The AJ stands for Air Jordan. Nah, I'm just playing, y'all. But he was up there, though. You can't lie. He got up there. You just saw the dreads just flying through the air swiftly as he was able to just put the ball in the basket. That was beautiful. Here's Abrams with the free throw. And he's able to knock that down. Abrams, another key player to this Bulldogs team. You know, with him being able to get going early, I think he's another key contributor as he was able to do what he does best on that last play, being able to get to the rim. Here's Evans taking a contested, heavily contested shot. Great defense as Bird just corrals the rebound like a grown man he is. Bird's running the offense, getting it to Abrams. Abrams to Green. Green looking around. Finds Capers. Capers back to Abrams. Approaching 10 seconds. Here's Green with the nice cross. Approaching 5 seconds. Here's a little shake shimmy that apparently was a travel a little bit too much by Capers. It looks like Green is checking in for Capers. But as I mentioned before, it's a lot of weapons, you know, a lot of repertoire, if you will, on this Bulldogs team. You know, a lot of different weapons. So we got to see what the Chargers are going to try to deal with that. Here's Johnson to Donaldson. Donaldson faking driving, trying to fake off Green, trying to power his way to the basket. But I got to be honest, that was great defense by Green, you know, on Donaldson. Donaldson about 5'11", 175. Green 6'2", 187. So, I mean, the way Donaldson, he a little compact, as you see Green, a little more lanky, but pretty quick, able to stay with Donaldson. Donaldson just powering his way to the basket. So, in certain situations like that, you know, Green couldn't really do anything because he couldn't just give up the layup, you know, and then especially with him being a freshman coming off the bench, you know, you gotta show your defensive presence, you know what I'm saying, as he checks out. You know, he did what he could on that play. So I'll say I'm not mad at young fella for how he was able to defend that. You know, he did what he could on it, you know. And now with this lineup, with Burrs going out, now we're seeing Green being the backup point guard. He looks like he's probably going to take it over for the Bulldogs ball club. And here he is, bringing it up, which I like. You know, he's a power guard, power built, if you will, as he gets it to Fields for the three. No good. But Angel coming in like an angel, able to come through on the tip-in bucket. And here's Donaldson directing traffic as the bigger Green sticks him. And he's able to travel. Once again, like I said, Green being a bigger guard, you know, Green coming in 6'1", 182, a little bit bigger, a little stockier, but also quick, you know, and strong, able to deter Donaldson a little bit. So we're going to see how that affects Donaldson's game throughout the ball game. As that ball was thrown away, it looked like one of the coaches low-key was in the way. I couldn't tell. I couldn't see where the baseline was, but it looked like he low-key was on the court. As that was an unforced turnover as Burrs quickly comes back in. Defensively, the Bulldogs sticking with that man-to-man, nothing fancy. Because clearly it's working. We got the lead, so apparently it's working. Here's English. Very interesting matchup, English versus Edmondson. As Fields able to get his hands in the cookie jar, but not quite able to get all of the cookie as Donaldson scores that bucket. Here's Burrs bringing it up with a purpose. Gets it to Abrams, who misthrows it to Edmondson, who didn't quite have all the position, as English comes down the floor and throws up an air ball. Nothing but oxygen, but that possession is going to go to the Bulldogs. So now it looks like the Chargers aren't pressuring as much because, like I said, the Bulldogs like a fast pace. So it wouldn't make no sense to press Burrs. But Burrs want to go. He want to go fast anyway. And it looks like there was a travel on Fields, who's very indecisive. and jumps in the air to pass. I know a lot of coaches don't like that. You know, you jump in the air to pass. You know, it's not very sound, not very fundamentally sound, not really disciplined, if you will. So, you know, you want to see better decisions from Fields. Here's Grant with handling, who's been playing pretty solid defense on him so far, swings it. And that was a wild shot by Sanders, as the possession is going to go back to the Bulldogs. Here's Birds bringing it up as we approach 2 minutes in the ball game. Here's Abrams on the tough take, but apparently he took too many steps, so the possession is going to go back to the Chargers. Here's Evans bringing it up as a screen was set by Grant. Evans directing traffic, gets it to Donaldson. Donaldson looking around, tells English to move. Donaldson takes a three, no good. And that ball goes straight to Drake, who tries to outlet it to Burris, who keeps it inbounds. And the jump ball is called. The Bulldogs like to get out, man. They like to get out in transition. They don't waste no time when it comes to trying to get a fast break bucket, because as I mentioned, they got a lot of athletes on this team. They trying to play track and field. They trying to run. This is basically a relay race. You know, you don't want to get no relay race with the Bulldogs. Here's Grant to English. English versus Edmonds once again, but a foul is called this time. I ain't gonna lie, I don't think that was really a foul. It was nothing too obvious. It was a little bump. If I'm the refs, I would let Edmondson play that a little bit, especially because they've been playing very honest up to this point, you know. So I wouldn't call that play. I wouldn't call that foul. But you know, it is what it is. But as far as the lineup, we can see South Suburban going a little bit big. As you know, you got McNeil out there, Edmondson, you got Drake. They all about 6'7", you know, 6'7", 6'8". But Camus, though, you know, as Edmondson gets the rebound. Here's Burrs. Burrs gets it to handling to Edmondson. Throws it to McNeil. McNeil just drops it in. Like I said, the size of this Bulldog squad definitely can play into it, as a three ball was knocked down by Evans, And as I mentioned, one of the keys to the game, you don't want to give up the three. You don't want to give up that three. As we are under a minute, here's Drake, able to get it to McNeil. And a foul is called on number 5 English of the Chargers. Well, I can say this. The refs are definitely calling the play fair. They're calling it fair on both ends, because they called that foul on Edmondson. So they called the same thing. But in my opinion, I would say don't call both of them. Just let them play that out, because they aren't real fouls in my opinion. And that could lead to foul trouble issues when you pick up those little ticky-tack fouls. But like I said, it's all in the decision of the ref. It's in how the ref calls the game, you know. So certain things like that you can't really control. But as I mentioned before, it is what it is. So we gonna see what happens. Here's Edmondson at the free throw line. And he's able to knock that down, as that was a 1-and-1. Folks, just in case you didn't know, a 1-and-1 situation, you have to make the first free throw in order to receive the second attempt. So here's Edmondson on the second one. And he's able to knock that one down. As I mentioned before, Edmondson having a great game, you know, not being in foul trouble. He only got one so far, so he's doing great. But I believe he might be in double figures right now as far as points. Here he is on defense right now against Evans. Sliding his feet. Doing a great job standing in front as we're under 20 seconds. Here's a nice trap. Evans pass, switches it. And here's Swift able to get to Donaldson as they approach 5 seconds. And we're under 10 seconds on the clock. Here's Donaldson faking, getting it, and that is rejected from Abrams. Abrams said, "I don't play that." Nah, bro, get that out of here. Nah, bro, you can't come up weak like that. We don't do that up in here. Abrams not having none of that. As we are at 2.8 seconds left in this first half. Here's handling, bringing it up, or excuse me, taking it out of bounds. And it looks like Coach instead wants Drake to take it out of bounds. And that is misthrown. As no time goes off the clock, as that goes out of bounds, it will be Chargers ball, who will pretty much be in the same position as the Bulldogs once was. Let's see what happens. No, excuse me. I'm sorry. It's going to be on that same. Oh, man. So the Chargers got a better opportunity to score. Let's see what happens. And here's Evans, unable to get it to go. And that is the first half of the ball game. The Bulldogs leading the Chargers 40-43. I'll be back in probably about 10 minutes with the halftime report. So y'all take a break, go get you some snacks, relax, and I'll get back with you. Hey everybody, welcome to halftime. You already know it's your boy, Ty Smith. And for the halftime report, the Bulldogs are currently leading the Chargers 40-33. And at the half for the Chargers, their leading scorer was number 4, Donaldson, with 12 points on 5 of 8 shooting. And I believe he was 0 for 1 for 3. And then for the Bulldogs, they were led by 12, Angel Edmondson, who had 12 points, as I mentioned, shooting 5 of 6 from the field. And also, Abrams, number 2, had 9 points on 3 of 4 from the field, as well as being 3 for 3 at the free throw line. But as I mentioned, as far as the keys to winning earlier for the Bulldogs was to get out in transition, fast break buckets. Fast break buckets, that's what they do. They get out in transition. Like I said, the whole squad full of athletes. They don't really have no true center, even though they have players like Edmondson and Drake that can play center. McNeil, you know, they're tall and athletic and can play the post, but they can take you out on that wing. They got some moves on the wing, and then especially defensively, they can switch off and stick to guard. As we saw with the Chargers lineup, they have nothing but guards. They do have a tall guard in English, number 5. He's about 6'5", you know, but we got a bunch of those over there with the Bulldogs, and we got a bunch of 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" guards, you know, like I mentioned with McNeil and Edmondson and Drake. You know, you got a lot of positionless players on this Bulldogs team, so being able to switch has been nothing. So we did see, as far as the 3-ball, so far for the Chargers, they are 3 of 6 from the 3. So that's not too bad, but that's 50% still for a 3-point percentage. That is pretty good, which means that, you know, they were starting to get going a little bit. I believe it was Grant 23, who's probably their best shooter. I said he was shooting 47%, you know, lights out. And in the first half, he was flawless from 3. He missed no threes. He was 2 for 2. So off bat, you know, Coach Bugatti, he was furious in that, which he should be, because of the fact that, you know, that was the key of the game, is to stop their 3-point shooters, because that can ignite a match for the Chargers. And as far as momentum, like I mentioned in the women's basketball game, basketball is a momentum game. You know, any play at any time could change the significance of the game. It could change the outcome. So, you know, you don't want certain players to get going, especially when you have scorers on the team. You don't want certain players to get going. But overall, I would say defensively, I really like the effort from the Bulldogs, especially compared to Saturday's effort against Danville. They definitely made some changes. They definitely made some adjustments. And one adjustment that I really, really liked from the Bulldogs defensively was the defensive pressure, starting off in a press. That's like, man, that's like I said, the initiative. You start off the gate like, man, y'all gonna have to earn it. You're gonna have to prove to us that y'all can dribble. You're gonna have to prove to us that y'all know how to get open. You're gonna have to prove to us that you can beat us to try to get to the bucket. And we saw certain plays, like I said, with number 5. I really like the matchup with Angel Edmondson against number 5 English. Like I said, they're both about 6'5", 6'6". You know, as far as the weight category, I say Edmondson probably got English by a few pounds. You know what I'm saying? But English was able to have a nice battle with Edmondson. We saw them getting buckets, you know, back to back. And, you know, in situations like that, like I said with the referees, you want to just let them play. You want to let them play it out. You know, you don't really want fouls to determine that. And I hope, because it seems like this game is probably going to be a close game. You know, if the Bulldogs don't get off to a hot start, then it probably could be a close game. In which, if it does become that, you want to see certain plays just played out. You don't want to see it ticky-tack at the end. You know, you want to see players really work for each bucket. You know, so I'm very excited to see what happens, though, in this ball game going forward to start off this second half. But just so y'all know, as I mentioned, as far as the matchup with Edmondson and English 6'5", 195. Edmondson 6'5", 225. So yeah, I was gonna say he got about 20 pounds on him. So let's see, you know, if he can do some more damage, as he definitely was in that first half. You know, having 12 points. Let's see what happens. Here's Burrs to start off the second half of the ball game. Here's an interesting lineup as we see Green at that off guard position with Abrams at the 3, McNeil at the 4, Edmondson at the 5. Here's a nice elbow or mid-range point line jump shot from McNeil, who scores his first bucket of the night. Bringing it up is Evans. Gets it to Page. Page back to Evans, who gets it back to Page, who easily slams it in, as the Bulldogs is not able to rotate fully on defense. Here's Green, wanting to get it in the post, gets it into the post to McNeil. McNeil swings it to Burrs, who faced the 3, but unable to get it to McNeil for the easy bucket. Here's a mishandle from Donaldson, who saves it to Evans. Evans getting direction from his coach on what play to run, as he fakes and goes left and then swings to Page for a mid-range, but he's not able to get it down like McNeil can. Here comes Burrs on the break, gets it to Edmonds, who fakes pass and just lays it in. Once again, the Bulldogs able to capitalize in the fast break situation. Like I said, that's their bread and butter. Y'all don't want to get no track race. Here's the drive from Grant, who loses it out of bounds. He tries to strong arm Green. He don't understand. Green not like that, man. Green probably bench pressing probably at least 215, 220. I don't think he want that with Green. And here's the pass from Green to McNeil. Gets it back to Green, who takes his time, takes the 3 ball, unable to get to go. And Abrams unable to corral it. Once again, I got to give a warning to the Chargers, man. Hey, y'all got to clean up on the glass defensively, because these Bulldogs, man, Abrams wasn't able to get that ball, but if he was, that could have been a putback dunk. Just based on the magnitude of how he got up there to get the ball, hey, y'all better be careful. I'm trying to tell you. Here comes English. Once again, the English-Edmondson battle with ease, as Donaldson able to knock down the 3-pointer from the pass of English. Here's Burrs, gets it to Abrams. Abrams looking around, gets it back to Burrs. Burrs to Green. Green trying to get to Edmondson, doesn't get to McNeil. Here's Edmondson in the middle. Post spins, is able to just politely lay it. He said, let me just go ahead, spin cycle him, get him off me, excuse me, bucket. That's all. It's textbook from Edmondson. And here's a foul from Abrams. Once again, I don't know about y'all. I don't know what y'all looking at on y'all screens at the crib, but from what I'm seeing, it's a lot of ticky-tack fouls just as far as certain shoves, certain displays of physical contact I feel like should be somewhat allowed, just as far as basketball. Basketball is a contact sport, so some of these plays, it seems just like regular plays, as it looks like Pangalo's coming in for Abrams. But with that said, once again, we're going back to versatility, the versatility of this South Suburban squad. We see 3 guys over 6'6" in Pagalo, Edmondson, and McNeil, as Green checks out of the game. And checking in is Handling, who himself is 6'4". So, I mean, that's your 2 guard. So the smallest one, the only one under 6 feet is Burrs, who's a monster. You don't let the size fool you, because Burrs, he like that. You know what I'm saying? Here's Pangalo, gets it to Burrs, to Handling, fakes it, goes right, throws a dime to Edmondson, who just politely lays it in. And I believe that's about 16 points for Edmondson. If he's careful, he's going to get double-double. Here's a nice block from McNeil. And here's Handling, unable to finish. Low-key, it looked like that was touched by McNeil, but the possession's going to stay with the Chargers because the ref didn't see what's going on. So we're going to get another possession. Right now, the Bulldogs with impeccable energy. I like it. Here's the 1-arm grab from Burrs, who decides to use that same hand to just go ahead and got it up in the rim. I like that. Very rambunctious by Burrs, if you will. That's what I'm talking about. Here's Grant being defended by Handling. Handling forcing a horrible jump shot, who ends up in the hands of Edmondson, who gets it to Burrs, who tippy-toes to keep inbound, spin moves baseline, but throws an intercepted pass that bounces off of the kneecap of Handling, and the possession is going to stay with the Chargers. But as I was saying, with Handling being 6'4", I didn't even realize how tall he really was, but this is a pretty tall Bulldog squad, but you can't really tell because of how they move. They all move like they 6'1", 6'2". So that's definitely an advantage that they can continue to keep using against the Chargers, who is clearly bothered by the size of the Bulldogs. Here's a contested shot from English, no good, as McNeil plays great defense. Here's Edmondson, who mistimes the throw. He didn't know if he wanted to throw a regular pass or if it seemed like he wanted to throw an oop. I can't be mad at him because he definitely wanted to throw the oop to his man. He tried to just lollipop. He couldn't really lollipop it. He was so strong. Like I said, that man about 225, 230. It was too strong of a pass. But here we are. Let's see what Evans does, being guarded by the 6'7" Pagalo. Here's the English Edmondson matchup, as English is able to squeeze the ball in the rim past Edmondson. Here's Burrs quickly bringing it up, wasting no time as he gets it to McNeil. McNeil sees Edmondson posting up, decides to slide it to him. Edmondson spins, waits, takes his time, unable to get it. Unable to get the layup is McNeil, but McNeil gets fouled on the second layup attempt. So as I mentioned, with the size of the Bulldogs, it seems that that's definitely started to play in their favor as they're getting a lot of rebounds. As I mentioned before against Danville, they kind of struggled a little bit defensively getting rebounds, but they made up for it offensively. But in this game right here, they're getting all the boards. It almost ain't even close, So it's definitely working in the favor of the Bulldogs as McNeil is able to knock down the free throw. And he knocks down the second. Here's Evans bringing it up. Here's English now with McNeil being a different defender on him. Here's Evans back. Evans directing traffic. He hesitates. He gets it to English, who has the smaller birds on him. I don't know if he want to keep handling it. As that ball is picked off by guess who handling, who apparently has hands. Here's Burrs from handling, driving with the left, and one. Y'all better stop playing with that man. That's a grown man. Burrs acting real bizarre right now. Is Samar. Man, like I said, man, the momentum of the Bulldogs right now, they definitely doing their thing, man. As the lead has ballooned to a dozen, with it being 54-42. I mentioned it before, and I'm going to keep mentioning it again. As far as the size and the athleticism of the Bulldogs, it's definitely playing to their strength. Here's Burrs attempting the free throw, and he completes it as I believe he's perfect from the line. As we saw, he struggled a little bit in the game against Danville, being 5 for 9 from the free throw line. But he decided to correct that mistake as he hits all his free throws right now. And he's just ferocious on defense as he just continues to bully his offensive man. Let me see who that is, y'all. That was Donaldson. Yeah, he coming up all hurt and distraught. Burrs was all over him, man. I'm telling y'all, man. I don't know if Burrs could fight, but I sure will want to find out. That was very ferocious defense being played. Real aggressive. You got to love it. Here the Chargers. Here's Webster bringing it up against the taller, lankier McNeil. Now here's handling on defense as the jumper is contested, but it's made from Swift of the Chargers. Here's Burrs coming down. Gets it to Abrams, who drives right and comes right in the game getting buckets. Abrams being real acrobatic. Yes, sir. AJ. Here's the drive from Edmonds, who throws a nice pass to Swift. He takes his time to lay it in. As a timeout is called from the Chargers. Apparently they got to get their scruples together. But as I mentioned it before, just as far as the size and length of the Bulldogs, this is exactly what they have to do. This is what they need to do to keep winning as far as getting in transition, not taking their time, even when the other team scores. When the other team scores, typically the point guard walks the ball up the floor, directing traffic, trying to get the offense going. But Burrs ain't wasting no time. As soon as he gets the ball, no matter if they score or not, he going up the floor, and he's looking for someone who could just get a bucket right away. And right now it's Abrams. As I mentioned, with Abrams being able to attack the basket, it's a lot of quick guards on this Bulldogs squad that is capable of doing that. But right now, as far as the most lethal, we talking about lethal bucket getters amongst them, definitely it's Burrs and Abrams when it comes to attacking the glass. And then, of course, we got some three-point killers with Pangalo. We got Fields. Fields kind of struggling a little bit right now. But, if and when he gets back into the ball game, if he keeps going a little bit, that's just the next step right now. That brings the lead from 11 to 20 or 25. If you can start getting the three ball going, it's on and cracking. But as I mentioned before, as far as using their size and length, to really attack the offensive glass, you got 3 dudes in the game for the Bulldogs over 6'6", 4 dudes over 6'4", you know what I'm saying? So being able to use their size and their athleticism, I think it definitely can work in their favor, in which it has, as they have an 11-point lead over the Chargers. So let's see what adjustments the Chargers can make. As we see so far, they're in a full court press. Look like a 1-2-2 low key. Here's Pangalo with the dime to Edmondson with the angelic finish. That boy gonna make me I'm gonna start singing some hymns, low key. I ain't gonna lie. Edmondson is having a game. I believe that's his 18th point of the night, with an opportunity to complete a 3-point play. I didn't even hear the ref call on that one. So let's see what he do. And it goes down as that is 19 for Mr. Angel Edmondson. Here's a little pressure from Burrs on Webster as Webster throws it, and it's picked off by Abrams, who overthrows it to Burrs. As we seen a few turnovers like that where we seen, a pass that was overthrown that goes straight out of bounds. But like I said, the Bulldogs aren't wasting any time. That's their mentality. We gonna get the ball and we going. We ripping. We running. We trying to get to the bucket. We ain't got all day. We ain't got all day to score. So here's another contested jumper by Handling, who I would say is playing very great defense right now as he gets a bucket to reward his defensive presence. Handling, showing that he knows how to handle it. He can handle the pressure. Don't ask Handling. He know what he's doing. Get a little pressure from Burrs as the ball is swung. Here's Swift to Donaldson. Donaldson calling plays with Burrs guarding. Burrs right there with him as he steps back, unable to get to go as he was deterred by Burrs. Here comes Abrams in a rush, gets it to Pangalo. Pangalo to Burrs. Burrs for a tray ball, and he knocks it down. He ain't playing no games, y'all. And what I say, just like that, the lead has ballooned to 19, 65-46 in favor of the Bulldogs. Here's Evans off the screen. He didn't like that Edmondson was on him, so he switched back to Abrams. Here's Webster trapped in the corner. Trapped in the closet. He don't know what to do with it. And there's a jump ball. And the possession is going to remain back with the Chargers. Let's see if they can handle that pressure by the Bulldogs. Here's Swift. And the ref says it's off the kneecap. And that possession is going to go into the hands of the Bulldogs. Here's Burrs ripping through as he is pressed a little bit. And then here's Abrams with the move that's able to get my man Pagalo open for the nice three in the corner. You got to love it. See, hey, just like that, 22-point lead because the three ball falling. Here's Donaldson on the drive, unable to hit the layup. And here comes Handling, showing that he can handle it as he is fouled, hacked, if you will, by number 24, Johnson of the Chargers. I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing right now from the Bulldogs as they're just showing initiative. They're being dogs. They're putting the dog in Bulldog. They ain't playing no games. They showing what it's like when you come to the south suburb. This is what it's like when you come to 159th. This is what you're going to get. Here's Abrams at the top of the key, getting it to Handling, who throws a nice lollipop pass to Edmondson, who takes his time, spins again, and then a charge is called as he obviously dipped his shoulder. But once again, I like the aggressive move. I like the move. Every ref is different. So some refs are going to let that move go. Some refs are going to call it. This just happened to be the day that the ref paid attention to it and called it. But it was still a great move by Edmondson. Here's Page to English with Abrams guarding. And he does a similar move to Edmondson, but not quite as aggressive as that foul is called on Edmondson. I believe that's number 3 on Edmondson, if I guess correctly, as McNeil is probably going to check in for Edmondson. Currently there's 11 minutes, 5 seconds left as that free throw bounces in for Page. And Edmondson comes out the game for McNeil as McNeil attempts his second free throw. The momentum, I believe, is still in the favor of the Bulldogs as that rebound somehow ends up in the hands of Burrs. Burrs is being a stickler for the ball as he's able to direct traffic for the Bulldogs. Swings it to Pangalo. Pangalo to Handling. Handling back to Pangalo. Pangalo fakes the three, drives, fakes. Unable to lay it in. Here comes Webster on the break. Gets it to Page, who hits the mid-range jumper. And now the Chargers able to get the lead down to 19. Here's Abrams in semi-transition with the vicious crossover. See, dude ain't know what to do because his dreads went one way and his body went another way. The dude didn't even know what to do. He didn't know what to do with that. Here's Webster, and the foul's going to be on McNeil, as it is confirmed that it is McNeil. And it looks like Coach Bugatti wants to talk things over. The South Suburban College men's and women's basketball teams want to thank their sponsors: Jimbo's Italian Beef, Providence Bank, Glenera Architects, John Kasparek Company Certified Public Accountants, the South Holland Business Association, and Village of Phoenix President Terry Wells. A special thanks goes out to our Slam Dunk sponsor, Michael Hornbuckle and Trademark Performance, for their support. You can contact them at 219-319-0110. Again, that's 219-319-0110. You also can contact them on the internet at www.trademarkpc.com. Once again, that's www.trademarkpc.com. The Bulldogs ask that you please visit these fine sponsors. If you are interested in becoming a South Suburban College sponsor, please contact John Picotti at 708-596-200. Once again, that's 708-596-200. And here's a foul from the corner that came from Pagallo. And that's just his first, so he's going to be all right. 10 minutes left in the second half as the Chargers inbounded on the side. And here is Webster to Donaldson. Donaldson directing traffic as he comes off the screen, gets it to English. English with Abrams guarding. And it looked like it could have been a kickball. But it looks like there was a charge on English, number 5 of the Chargers. As possession goes to the Bulldogs. Here's Burrs being trapped. Gets it to handling. Who gets it to McNeil? McNeil to Abrams. Abrams back to McNeil, but it was so strong he couldn't handle it. Here's McDonald's coming down. Donaldson, excuse me. I'm a little hungry, y'all. Here's Donaldson coming down, able to get it to Swift. Swift to Webster. Fakes the jumper because it's too much handling on him as Page is able to lay in a loose ball. Here's McNeil. Throws a risky pass. Burr is able to get it to Abrams. Abrams takes his time, gets to the rim, unable to lay it in. Trying to corral a loose ball is Abrams, which he does. Gets it to McNeil, to Pagallo. Pagallo to Burrs. Burrs to handling. Handling face the three. Goes baseline and almost dunks it. Handling got to do his calf raise. He going to dunk that one day. He going to get it. Handling doing this thing as the lead gets back to 21. Here's Swift going baseline. Swift trying to shake Abrams. Abrams ain't going nowhere. Here's Page. Double, swings it to Webster. Webster is blocked rudely by Burris, who just decides to cross him over as well. Get to the bucket, unable to get it to go, but it is laid back in by Abrams. Oh my goodness, man. Burris just violating this point guard right now. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. How you gonna block his shot? You said, give me that. Then you gonna say, give me them ankles. That's crazy. Just relentless is Burris, man. Being real bizarre. Here's Donaldson with the brick as that's corralled by Abrams. Abrams to my man. Handling, unable to dunk it. But I just love the attempt. He ain't playing no games. He ain't playing no games. Is handling. Handling said, don't worry, I got it. The situation is handled. Don't even worry about it. As he gets to the free throw line. And I believe that's the 5th foul on Page. So that's definitely a great basketball IQ of handling to be able to challenge him. Not only the fact that they're up by 23, but to know that Page has 5 fouls, and Page, he wasn't going to have it. He wasn't just going to let him dunk on him. But once again, handling, being aggressive, I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing for him as he approaches his 2 free throws. Knocks down the first. Here he is with the second attempt. And he's able to get that to go as well. Here's a little bit of pressure from handling. Bringing it up is Webster. Keeps it to Grant in the corner. Unable to get that to go, as he is their best three-point shooter, at 47%. But because he ain't hit a shot since like the first 15 minutes of the game, he cold now. So now it's like, man, it kind of don't matter at this point. So a little bit under 8 minutes. You know, if he do hit a 3, it could do something. Like I said, it's basketball. So, you know, with 8 minutes left, it's still enough time. You know, he's at the free throw line right now. Number 24 is at the free throw line. But like I was saying, with Grant, as far as shooting the 3 ball, he's cold. You know, as Johnson knocks that down for the Chargers. Here's a little pressure from the Chargers as Fields shoots the 3, unable to get it to go though. Here comes Webster. Now, here's Swift trying to get to the basket, and he's fouled by Abrams, it looks like. It looks like that's going to be the 3rd personal foul. But as I mentioned before, as far as the lead for the Bulldogs ballooning all the way to 23, foul trouble kind of don't really matter at this point with the game kind of winding down because the damage is done. The house is burned down. You know, it's looking treacherous. I ain't guaranteeing a win because, you know, once again, it's basketball. A lot of things can happen. You know, 23 still can get hot. Matter of fact, as far as the mentality for the Bulldogs, I would say that you got to keep this killer mentality. You got to keep going at them. You know, the lead, with it being 22 right now, possibly 21, if the free throw is knocked down by Swift, you got to keep going till it's all zeros. You know, if the lead is at 21 or 20 or 22, then you got to try to get to 30, 32, 35, 40, 50 even. You get a 50 piece, try to do that. Once again, here's handling, just laying it in, being real polite to the rim. Telling the rim, hey, I ain't going to do you like that, rim. Don't even worry about it. He definitely showed the ups, though. It was a very pretty move by handling. Here's Webster. Gets it to Johnson, who took 2 minute steps. He was Chicago stepping on that one for sure. He was stepping in the name of love. Here's handling on the inbound play. Getting ready to inbound it to Abrams. Abrams bringing it up, running point, as he definitely is capable of. Here's Fields. Fields dribbling around, looking for somebody. Gets it to handling. Handling drives, throws it down to Edmondson, who just lays it in off the glass. As he gets 21 points. Edmondson definitely having a great game. You like to see it since he struggled last game in Danville, being in foul trouble. I believe he only had 4 points. So I'm definitely happy to see this for Edmondson. As he gets the rebound, gets it to Abrams on the break. Here's Abrams in the open floor, throws it to handling, who just lays it in politely. Here's English as we approach 6 minutes. And I believe that's 4 on Edmondson, who just can't seem to stay out of foul trouble. It's like, man, even in the blowout, even with him having 21 points, still got four fouls. But once again, it definitely is a different vibe for Edmondson with him having a great game so far. He definitely has been very impactful for this Bulldogs squad with us at 6 minutes and 3 seconds. It looks like the Chargers want to talk things over as they take a timeout. But as I mentioned previously in tonight's ball game, rather, as far as the keys of the game to winning it, I can't say it enough as far as getting out on the break, as far as fast breaks, being able to capitalize on fast break situation, the pressure of defense, making sure to go out to three-point shooters. I felt like the Bulldogs definitely did that. They did a great job of that, and a key component of them being able to defend was being able to use their size, being able to slide, being able to help on defense, definitely very communicative was the Bulldogs, and like I said, as far as being dogs, that was it. They was just dogs, just being able to get certain steals. Burrs got a lot of steals. I got to see as far as how many steals he got. I definitely got to look at the end of the game, but he had quite a few steals. Abrams was very, very disciplined on defense, so just as far as the whole squad, as far as the makeup of this team, I definitely think that they can go far as far as junior college basketball. As we know, Coach Gotti definitely has a great track record of winning as the Bulldogs. They take it all, winning the national championship in 2022. This team definitely has potential to be able to do that, you know what I'm saying? So with that loss they took against Danville, I'm pretty sure that's a rare loss, as far as those situation goes. This team definitely can go far. So let's see how this ball game ends for the Bulldogs. Here's English at the free throw line. Unable to get it to go. Now I'm getting them confused because of the Edmondson-English battle. It definitely was cool to see that before this became a blowout. It was cool to see them go at it head-to-head and to see Edmondson really be able to take off and project his team to be possibly victorious. This game ain't over, but possibly and most likely victorious. Here's Handling, driving baseline, and the ball bounces to Abrams as it's kicked to Fields, who tried to create some space, even though it looked like he just had the lane. It looked like he could have just laid it in, but he was trying to be aggressive, was a little overly aggressive on that play. But once again, you got to like the mindset and the mentality of Fields as he was able to try to get a bucket. Here's Evans, gets it to English. He tries to finish the layup, unable to get to go. Here's Abrams, who gets it to Capers. Capers with the lay, no good. Here comes English. English throws it quickly to Swift. Swift spinning, trying to get Fields off of him, unable to lay it in. And here comes McNeil, who throws it to Abrams. Abrams flying to the rim, skying for the lay. Abrams definitely got to be at double figures now. Definitely liking what I'm seeing from Abrams. Like I said, as far as the best players for this Bulldogs team, the leaders, if you will, definitely Burrs, definitely Abrams, Edmondson. They're the cornerstone pieces of this team. And even as far as the others, man, it's a lot of others for this Bulldog squad. A lot of guys that can do a lot of important things for this ball club, for this basketball team. Guys like Pangalo, Handling, they give a lot of great minutes. And on this team, anybody could get hot. Anybody could have a good night, so you kind of don't even want to call them others because it's like, man, this ball club has the potential of being just that good, as Handling shows how he handles the pressure, knocking down the corner three. You got to love it, as we are currently at 4.5 minutes to go in this ball game. Here's Evans. Evans kicks to English, unable to knock down the jumper as Abrams throws the oop, and Handling able to lay it in. Handling, he trying to get his dunk in. I really respect it. He trying to get a dunk, And I love how his teammates are trying to get it for him. Got to appreciate the acrobatic finish by handling. Here's Evans. Evans driving right. And it looks like it's another ticket-tack foul by Tanner Fields on the 23 of the Bulldogs. But yeah, as far as getting on the break, just ripping and going, we saw a perfect display. The epitome, if you will, of getting in and going just on the rebound. It was like, man, ready, set, go. That's what it looked like from Abrams. Abrams just got that ball and he just ran. He just went straight down court and saw his man's handling, streaking down that right wing and able to throw the perfect pass. You know, when the Bulldogs do that, they're definitely a dangerous team. As Pangalo gets the rebound. A little bit under 4 minutes. Here's Burrs. Running point. Swings to Fields. Fields to handling. Handling a little bit too much on the lay from handling as Evans is now out from the break. And he's able to finish over Burrs. But then here comes Abrams right back at it. 1-2. Hop, step, lay. That's it. 1-2, skip to my loop. 1-2, skip to my loop. How do you do? Says Abrams. Now here's Evans with a nice move to a spin, but it looked like he did too much as he couldn't finish the bricked jumper as Burrs is fouled. And Burrs goes to the free throw line. We are currently at 3 minutes and 19 seconds. With the Bulldogs leading the Chargers 91-61. Once again, as I mentioned before, as far as the effort of the Bulldogs, definitely came out with a different mentality. You know, losing to Danville, they definitely felt like they got away with one. Especially in my opinion, I believe that they really could have won that game. They didn't play their best, but in today's effort, they definitely came with a different mindset, different energy, and a different level of focus as we saw. Even though Angel Edmondson got 4 fouls, it was at a different part of the game because in the first half, Edmondson only had 1 foul. So we saw Edmondson definitely came with a different mindset and a certain discipline and focus and, you know, let his teammates know, hey, y'all, I got you. And he definitely displayed that, and it showed the difference, you know, because now everyone was able to just do them, you know, as that's brick by Grant. And here's the great move from Abrams off the dime from handling as Abrams just spins through. Once again, his dreads just flopping everywhere. Just putting us in the spin cycle. As that ball goes out of bounds.
Big round of applause for South Bergen College team.
As a new platoon of Bulldogs takes it to the ball game. We are currently under 3 minutes. Here's Green. Green bringing it up, handling the pressure, and just unable to lay it in as that ball is corralled and laid in, scooped in, if you will, by number 31, Ian Eichner. Mike and Ike, if you will. Here's Grant. Grant pulls up for a fadeaway, and he gets that to go, which will take that now with it being 2 minutes left and a 34-point lead. Really couldn't get going as the Bulldogs was really able to ice him out. Here's Green with a nice mid-range lefty lay, unable to get that to go by Eichner. Able to get the offensive rebound and lay it in. You gotta like what you see. Ian Eichner getting 2 straight buckets. Really like it. Here's Sanders bringing it up. Trying to shake Green off. Unable to. I believe that was Johnson, whose foot was on the out-of-bounds line. Let's see who's going to try to get a bucket now for the Bulldogs. It's Green bringing it up. Green serving, kicks it to Eichner. Eichner sees Drake. Ball swung to Green. Back to the other Green. They ain't brothers. Green misses. And the ball was able to be fought. That was Thompson able to get that out as Green was able to lay it in for the Bulldogs. We are currently under a minute as the Bulldogs reached 100 points, with it being 101-63. Here's Blue with the spin move, unable to get to go as Thompson rebounds, and here's Green to Green. Green with a nice hezzy, and he's able to get fouled on the play. Isaiah Green starting to get a few buckets now. Definitely like the lineup when he plays with Abrams and Burr, you know, having him and Burr in the backcourt, you know, having all three of them be able to attack, you know, that, and honestly, that's probably the smallest lineup that they have, you know, with Green being about 6'1", Abrams about 6 feet, 6'1", and Burr like 5'8", 5'9". I give him 5'9", you know, but these guys are definitely the fastest, you know, on the team for sure. But, you know, with them being able to penetrate and get to the rim, you know, it does a lot of good, you know, for this Bulldogs team. And it's able to open up a lot of things for their teammates, you know, because besides them, everybody else is a wing. You know, like I said, it's no true bigs. It's a lot of wings on this South Suburban squad. So, you know, they've definitely been able to display their talents today. It feels like they're going to take the victory against the Chargers. Here's Grant trying to shake and bake against Green, and he's able to get that to go. But it don't matter, though, as we are under 10 seconds.
Say it with me. The eggs are cold. The butter is hard. The devil is jiggling. This one is in the refrigerator.
And that is the ball game. The Bulldogs take the victory over the Chargers, 103-65. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of great things we were able to see from the Bulldogs. They definitely was able to play their brand of basketball, which helped them get the win today. And with that being said, we're going to try to get a few words from Coach Pagatti before we step out. So I'm going to be back with y'all. Just hold on. Coach Pagatti, can you hear me all right?
Yes, I'm good. I think, hey, these things George put together, I think it was our makeshift little sound system. It's okay. We got a JUCO sound system. We're good.
That's all good, man. It was a great ball game for you all. Obviously, you all got the victory, and it was by a lot of points. What was your mindset for your team coming into this game, especially coming off the loss from Danville?
Well, you know, it was all about trying to just play the next team. I told the guys the greatest thing, Ty, about college basketball, it's not like football. Football, you got to wait a week. You know what I mean? And sometimes you have the bye week, you got to wait 2 weeks. At least in college, you're playing like every 4 or 5 years. We had to play a day later because of the snow and stuff like that. But then it became game plan, okay? And what I'm really proud of, Ancilla shoots 43s a game, okay? They shoot 40, okay? They shot 11 tonight. That was why we won the game. They shoot 43, okay? Grant, okay, 23, all right, shoots 15 threes a game. He was 2 for 4, okay? See, our mindset of our game plan, they followed. And because of that, I know we made a ton of mistakes, and it's early on in the year, and I was yanking guys in and out because of mistakes, but they've got to learn that they can't do that. But I was proud of our scouting report and what we did in our game plan. They stuck to it, and we stuck to driving the ball to the basket, which only led to 15 threes, but we shot 60% from the field because we drove it to the basket. And that's what I wanted to do against their defense, and we did that tonight.
Yes, obviously Angel Edmondson had a great game. I believe he had 21 points.
Yeah.
as far as his effort, because we saw he was in foul trouble in the exhibition against Calumet College as well as the first game against Danville. What were your thoughts on his effort today?
Well, he stayed in the game. He only had one foul. When you stay in the game, he can throw it to our big guy and can score a basket. You know what I mean? And except for that one play where he made it look like I don't know what the hell he was doing, okay, when he threw that up there. But, if he stays in the game, okay, we can make plays, and we can throw him the ball. And that takes a lot of pressure off of AJ, takes a lot of pressure off Samar. And what happened with Shane, okay, Hanlon, number 11, okay, Shane is a guy that's been off for 2 years, okay, and he came in again today shooting threes. That's why he yanked him out. I told him you need to drive the ball to the basket. So he drove the ball to the basket, and he made like 5 straight layups, and then he made a 3. Which is what happens when you get into a rhythm. So they need to start that. Some of them still don't believe, and what I'm trying to get to them, and it's a long season. Okay, it's going to be really long. I know I have any hair anyways, but I think that, I hope that this is a starting point because some guys believed, and it showed on the scoreboard.
Nah, man, I really appreciate that, and thank you for talking to me, Coach. I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you. Going to be your Sunday or Saturday, right?
Saturday. We're going to have to see. I got to check my schedule.
Okay, check your schedule because Spoon River's very good, so we'd love to see that game, okay?
For sure.
All right, Ty. Thank you.
All right, appreciate you. Well, y'all, as y'all saw the ball game, great effort, great victory from the Bulldogs. I've been your host, Ty Smith. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me and listening to us. And as Coach mentioned, they will take on Spoon River earlier on Saturday. This Saturday coming up at 1 o'clock. The men's and women's team are going to play Spoon River. So y'all tune in for that. But until then, I've been Ty Smith. Thank y'all for rocking with me. Take care.
this shit like video, everything I'm saying is motherfucker off. Such a trippy follow.
Don't let it move, don't play, don't